Yes, us. Welcome to the Kefi Life Podcast. My name is Kiki Vale, and I'll be your guide to creating a life of Ola Kala, all is well. Together, we'll get back to the basics, and we'll explore fresh new ways to flourish in mind, body, and soul the Greek way. You can look forward to interviews, stories, essential self-care strategies, recipes, and actionable takeaway Ola Kala moments. This is going to be so much fun. Let's get going. Πάμε! Our Lexi for today is Lemfadenas or lymph node. During today's interview, athletic trainer and activation specialist Maura Gates talks a lot about how to keep the lymphadenas healthy and clear. So what exactly are lymphadenas or lymph nodes? They're tiny little structures all over your body that work as filters for toxins and foreign things such as cancer cells and infections. Lymphadenas do contain immune cells that can help fight infections by attacking germs carried through lymph fluid. In just a short while, Maura will share with you how to keep your lymphadenas or lymph nodes healthy and clean. Eleolado, olive oil, has been celebrated in the civilized world for millennia. Nearly eternal, the oil of this fruit has been more than just food to the cultures of the Mediterranean region. It's been medicinal, ceremonial, sacramental, and the foundation of great wealth and power. It is safe to say that olive oil is the ethos, the essence of Greek culinary culture. Today, the priceless and life-giving ingredients of this liquid gold can be delivered to you when you purchase your premium bottle of Kefi Life extra virgin olive oil from the region my parents were born, the Peloponnese. The coveted Koroneiki olive is extensively cultivated here in the southern part of Greece, which offers the unique microclimate needed to grow a fruit netting the utmost nutrient value for extra virgin olive oil. Kefi Life extra virgin olive oil, a boundless amount of value, high in antioxidants with anti-inflammatory properties, linked to good mood and improved mental health. Get your bottle of wellness today when you visit kefilife.shop. Open your mind, listen to your body. Believe me when I say it, and Douglas Heel coined it, what is in the mind is in the body. This is the focus of today's episode with exercise physiologist, certified athletic trainer, and most importantly, activation specialist, Maura Gates. Maura, my friend, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Kiki. It's a pleasure being here.
I love talking to you because you're a wealth of information to help people release emotions and to feel better through this activation. So it's really great to have you here. And firstly, how did you decide to get into this thing called activation?
As you said, I'm an exercise physiologist, and I work with so many, a vast age groups. And it was going through, I have also worked in rehabilitation of athletes and that type of thing in the past. And someone actually said to me, Maura, you have got to meet this Douglas Heel and go to one of his seminars. And Douglas Heel is a physio from South Africa that came to the States to teach this activation. And so I did. And it profoundly changed what I do with my clients. It opened up my mind and how I'm looking at their bodies. So it's been phenomenal.
And you're a great listener. I've been on your table before, and you pinch and you poke and you squeeze and you tweak and you stretch me out, and then I cry. God only knows why. It's not from the pain. It's from releasing those emotions. But for our friends that don't really know what activation is or they haven't participated in it, what does it look like?
So it's an assessment first. And so the client will come in, and sometimes I even videotape them to see how they're moving or standing, whether one shoulder's higher than the other and that type of thing, kind of assess what their body looks like to me. And then we will I'll watch them or videotape them walking. Sometimes the gait changes as well. A lot of facial expressions will change as well. And then we get them on the table and I assess them. So what that looks like is I assess passive range of motion and then active range of motion, or testing the muscles to see if they're firing or not. And why I do this is because through trauma, stress, anxiety, grief, your body, because of the mind, it will, the brain tells some of these muscles to shut down because of this anxiety or stress, grief, whatever it is. And so when that shuts down, I will find if there's any compensation behaviors. What that means is, let's say your hip flexor is not working. And why is that? And we go up and we discover that the shoulder's acting as the hip flexor. And why is that? Well, have you been through so much trauma or grief, and you're holding, all of a sudden your shoulder's taking over, or the brain just shuts down that hip flexor for some reason?
It's so interesting, and I think people dismiss what you just said. You studied extensively under Douglas Heel. He's the creator of activation, and he teaches what is in the mind is in the body, and what you don't know, you don't know. Did I see that right?
It's you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Powerful. So let's apply this to the stressors of life and also the trauma that someone may experience. For example, what those kids went through at Michigan State.
Oh my gosh, that was so tragic, wasn't it? So you don't know what you don't know. And I just love this statement because for me as a practitioner, I don't know what's going to present in front of me. I don't know their trauma. And that does at times come out on that table as I'm working with a client. With these Michigan State students that have endured this tragedy, we don't know each body how it interprets that tragedy. And I think it's so imperative that we hear them, but plus also watch what their bodies are doing. Your body, your physiology will hold that trauma. And I, as a practitioner, get to find out where that's holding and then change it and then teach them how to change it themselves.
So you were telling me, like, for example, when I came to you and I had this shoulder pain, you were saying that sometimes that will occur. You hold your breath, you tense up, you bring your shoulders up. And for some reason, like if you're a little bit nervous, you hold your breath. That doesn't even make sense to me.
As a matter of fact, I was doing that right now. Okay. So yes, that's a natural response of our bodies. We tend to, when we're in that, it's called an autonomic nervous system. And you have a sympathetic and a parasympathetic. In the sympathetic, that is something we need, right? It protects us a little bit. But when you fight, flight, or freeze, but we tend to hold our breath. And that is detrimental to our bodies, though, if you continuously do that. Occasionally you do need that. For instance, when that tragedy is happening, maybe you are doing that, but please, you have to get yourself out of that sympathetic.
So, let's talk about a couple ways that you get out of the breathing and the moving.
Perfect. Belly breathing is a marvelous tool for everyone, and I mean everyone.
Do you want to demonstrate?
Sure. So you breathe in through the nose, and then you allow the air to come into the low belly cavity. You almost let the air come in, like you're almost protruding your belly out. And here's why. The diaphragm underneath your ribs needs to be able to move, and it moves down, and it, so it concave down, and it can ignite the hip flexor, but more importantly, it massages organs. It brings this oxygenation into your body. It's so important. It decreases your heart rate, decreases your blood pressure, and it increases your peripheral vision as well. But it also, most importantly, brings you back to that homeostasis, which is the balance in your body. And you mentioned in the green room about there's a combination of things. One thing you had me do, and I love it, and I do it every day, and it's so easy, is squat low, but stay on your heels. Yes.
And breathe through that.
Because you can't breathe when you are squatting, a deep squat. And it doesn't matter how far you come down. I'm not saying everyone has to do that deep squat, but eventually that deep squat, you'll get there. And the reason why is because you cannot breathe chest breathing in a deep squat. You have to belly breathe. And again, that's so good for the diaphragm to dome down. And then you'll be able to bring that air into that low belly cavity. It connects the upper body to the lower body.
So much of our health and wellness is attributed to breathing.
100%.
And we don't do it sometimes. I mean, I know we're breathing.
Right.
But are we doing it conscientiously with the purpose of letting go that freeze scenario?
Correct.
Right.
And I will, when I'm working with activation too, I will actually ask people to, when they're inhaling through the nose and on the exhale, whether I'm on a particular trigger point for them, that they breathe out heavily, almost as if they're releasing this trauma, stress, whatever it is they're holding on to out of their body.
So like when you are pressing down, you told me a couple of things to do, like massage the pits, massage behind the ears. Let's talk about a couple things that the viewers could do to get a little bit of relief, if you will.
Well, the activation first, we're going to go into another aspect of it, lymphatics, but we're going to do that. Or do you want to do that?
Let's do lymphatics first. Yeah, so, there's an order to this.
Yeah, definitely. And, in saying that, activation, lymphatic work, no system gets injured alone and no system heals itself alone. So you have to, that's what we do, is I look at the body and look at why are these things happening, right? So if we go into activation and we're just not quite getting what we need from activation, lymphatic work is phenomenal. Go ahead.
No, now I get it.
Yeah,
when you're doing this.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's more of lymphatic, and because your arteries, veins, and nerves and lymphatic system all lie together.
And where's the lymphatic system?
All throughout your body. You have lymph nodes. Everyone's heard of that. But that lymph is like I have a great quote, is like the trash can for the blood. So sometimes if you go in to get blood work and the blood panel comes out normal, you have to start looking at the lymph. It's like the toxins, the release from the blood. So if we're not looking at the lymphatic system, you're kind of missing a piece of the puzzle. But yes, so it's called the Big Six, and the order matters because, which I find so interesting. I got a shout out also to Perry Nicholson. He's the one that has educated me so much on this as well. But the order matters because I love this part of it. This is like above the collarbone is your drain, like a sink drain, and then below it. So if you're not starting there, whatever you're doing from lymphatic, and you've heard the dry brushing and the gasha, whatever, those are wonderful, but you have to open up the drain. Otherwise, you're going to get clogging throughout the body. And there are areas where it specifically tends to clog a little bit more or get, sticky.
And truly, when we hold emotions or trauma or stress, and we all know that stress comes into life, but let's address the stress. So there are ways through this activation to get rid of it. And if there's anything that you want to share today, simple things that people can do to sort of, like you shared 3 with me and I've been doing them.
That's so good. Yay! Every day you should. Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So belly breathing is one of them for sure. You have to be belly breathing 50 times in a day. I always say it's not a magic number. Just do it. And then activating. So this is more activation than the lymph, and it starts from the collarbone and goes down as an upside down Y to the lowest 2 ribs. Why do we do that? It gets that diaphragm moving. Better belly breaths is phenomenal. And then we go into so the hip flexors have to be firing, the glutes, because if you're not, and the glute one is awesome as well, that's behind the base or at the base of the skull. So what you want to do is just rub the base of your skull, and that one gets your glutes firing. It should not be tender. When you're rubbing, you should be able to put your hands on your body and not have this pain. And if you do, it's telling you something. It's telling you that whether you're not firing, or maybe we do have to look at the lymphatic system. Again, all these systems work together.
And there is science behind the mind and the body, that connection with holding emotions and trying to deal with them. And please, by all means, everybody, deal with your emotions whatever way you can with a professional. In our remaining moment, what is the best way? While we're making this look really simple, you are a specialist. So how would somebody get in touch with you?
I have my cell number, my email, but I just moved down to the city of Chicago, so that's totally great. I love it there. So I have a city location as well. And I also am in the suburbs. I will travel. As a matter of fact, I go in a week and a half to go to Puerto Rico, and I have clients there. So if you're in there, give me a call.
Excellent.
I know I'm on a Healer Pass app, which is great over there. everyone needs healing, right? Everyone needs help discovering how to heal. And I'm an advocate for their bodies. In addition to that, I have an Instagram page. It's called Flex_Chicago. And at Facebook, Flex Activation and Wellness is another one. But my email is Maura Gates, ATC @gmail.com.
Well, this has been truly delightful, and I really do believe in that mind-body connection. And for all of us that are going through anything, let us get all those toxins out. Let's get rid of them. Let's detox the stuff out of our lymph nodes. You've been a special guest, and I ask all my special guests this question. So, Maura Gates, in my life, I've learned that
I should show up. Show up. And I know it's so cliche, but I also use the term consistency is key. And I feel like it kind of goes one and the same. They're kind of the same thing. If you just show up, and even for your, if you hear people, show up and listen to them. Show up and be there for someone. You would be surprised at how much you learn as well.
Well, I've learned a lot today. We'll have to have you back.
Definitely. I would love it. I'm so honored.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay right there. Up next, your weekly takeaway to keep it all as well. Hola, Kala.
This Hola Kala moment brought to you by the law offices of Liston and Centillus. Ranked number 1 by the leading lawyers network since 2010, taking care of all your real estate needs.
A great way to keep it hola Kala all as well is to make yourself a priority alongside everyone else in the family. How does a busy person make themselves and their health a priority in midst of paying bills, crazy calendar, and loved ones tugging? The answer is simple, friends. Put yourself on the schedule, just like you schedule your child's dentist appointment or your company meeting. When you schedule time for yourself to care for your mind, body, and soul, then you become your best, and you can give your best to others.
Kiki Vale is the founder of Kefi Life. She is passionate about whole person wellness and living a fulfilled life. Her Kefi Life podcast is created to simply and naturally help you harmonize the mind, body, and soul the Greek way. Visit KefiLife.com and check out Kiki Vale on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Join us again next time for more positive energy and inspiration on Kefi Life.